Good Sunday evening to all of you out there around the world. I hope people are watching from all around the world. I'm Paul Rosen. This is The Journey, show number 16. I got to bring up my partner, man, because there's no journey without Barts and Rosey, and there's no Barts and Rosey without Barts. So let's bring them up. Hey, Bart.
How you doing, Rosie?
I'm good. Hey, show number 16. Like they said it wouldn't last, and we're coming close to 20.
Hey, we'll be saying the same thing when we reach 100. So
there you go. Hey, listen, before we even get into the show, it couldn't be possible without the best producer in the business, the Fanshawe kid, Jordan LaRoche. We love him. He's amazing. We are so grateful to be a part of the Gooch Network and to be a part of Fired Up.
Yeah. What an honor. And really, this allows us to reach more people. And so it's truly an honor to be part of the Fired Up family now. They just joined us a couple weeks ago, just before Canadian Thanksgiving. So a huge thank you to them to allow us to have our show on their platform and streaming live for them. So super excited to reach a whole new audience, and hopefully we do them proud, just like we do the Gooch proud every week. So.
Absolutely. And our show, for those of you that are watching maybe for the first time in show 16, this is about ability through disability. So every one of our guests has a disability that have turned their life into maybe a little bit of a challenge and obstacle, but they've taken that obstacle and challenge and just ridden with it, just right to the moon like you have. Mediocrity, man, it's nothing, man. Strive for greatness, kids. Anybody watching out there, young, old, women, men, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. No. You know, this is about striving for greatness. Robert Wine, talk about greatness. One of our greatest guests, love him. He says, you're awesome. Okay, he's talking about you for sure, not about me, but we love him. Hey, let's get right into it, because 30 minutes goes by in 30 minutes pretty fast.
It truly does. Yeah.
I thought that was a joke, but obviously it wasn't funny. Anyways, Parks, bring your guest up, because this is a show that will just blow you away.
Yeah, we've been talking about for weeks powerful women. We've had a couple powerful women, Jess Silver, Bean Gill, and we've had a couple as well. I'm going to forget them all, but tonight is no different. Her name is Maysyn. She's from Edmonton, and crazy, she has a unique and an unbelievable story that started not too long ago, and I'm gonna allow her to dive more deeply into it. She had 2 strokes that really flipped her life upside down and back again. She's had an incredible support system, incredible husband who's in the military and serves our great country as well. So let's bring her up. Maysyn, again, thank you so much for joining us. It is an honor. It is a privilege to have you on. And I'm excited for the world to hear your story. So, Maysyn, as I tell every guest of mine, paint us a picture. Take us back as far as you can. Obviously, as vibrant and as in detail, but in short order, if you can. Kind of explain to us what happened to you just a couple short years ago, how it affected your life, and where you're at now.
Well, thank you everyone for having me on today. It's really an honor to be here and just share my story. So my name is Maysyn. I'm in my very, very untidy craft room, so just don't look at it. So I was a very healthy woman growing up. I played ringette, I played baseball, I went to college and everything, and I had a pretty normal life. And it wasn't until I was 24 years old, February 25th, 2018, that it was a Sunday, and I went to go hang out with my boyfriend, and then after our hangout, I went home to my parents' house because I was house sitting. I went to my parents' house, and I did whatever any other woman would do. I started watching The Bachelor. So I started watching The Bachelor, And I was like, oh, my neck feels kind of funny. So I texted my boyfriend and I said, my neck feels weird. And obviously he's not going to be like, oh my God, drive to the hospital, right? So he's just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. So I decided to have a nap because it kind of just felt like I had slept on it kind of wrong. It was just a little kinky that way. So I just had a nap on the couch and then I got up and I was like, oh no, it's still there. So I was like, oh, whatever, like it'll be fine tomorrow. So I went to the kitchen, made myself pizza, obviously, and I turned the oven off, and then I walked to my phone because my phone was charging, and something just happened to me. Like I just felt kind of like a rush of, I don't even know what it was, but I felt something was wrong. So I texted my boyfriend and I said, something's wrong. And then at that moment, I turned 180 degrees. So I spun and I was like, whoa, that was weird. And then I collapsed. And and like, I'm a very dramatic woman and I'm very, I like to, exaggerate a little bit. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, hey, just get up, Maysyn. Like, you're being dramatic. Like, just get up. And I remember my right side not moving. And I remember telling myself, okay, Maysyn, just bring your knee to your stomach to kind of get on your knees and then kind of push yourself off from your hands. And I was like, okay, I can't do that. And then, so I fell. And then before I didn't feel my right side, I guess I took a picture of myself because I thought, selfie time. So I took a picture of myself and I had sent it to my boyfriend. And I remember my phone buzzing and buzzing and buzzing because he was obviously trying to call me or whatever because he just got this picture and whatever. So my phone, so I was laying down face down and my phone was kind of like up here. And my boyfriend was working at the base 24 hours that day. So he couldn't leave just, willy-nilly. So he called my sister who lived in South Edmonton where we lived together. And he called my sister. And so she came rushing to my parents' house and found me face down on the ground fighting for my life. And I remember thinking like because she was freaking out because, her baby sister is on the floor gasping for air and she doesn't know what's going on. And I remember my sister like freaking out being like, oh my God, Maysyn, are you okay? And I remember being like, shh, it's fine. Like, I'm fine. Like, relax kind of thing. But really, I wasn't fine. So a good thing she kind of went a little whatever. So she called 911. An ambulance came and they actually thought I was overdosing. So they were just kind of like, oh my God, like, yeah, she's overdosing, whatever. Like, oh, a kid at her parents' house for, a week, like, party central kind of thing. And my sister was like, no, she doesn't even drink. She's not someone to just be like, oh, let's go and do drugs on a Sunday night. So the paramedics, once I got into the ambulance and everything, I think they're like, oh, I think she just had a stroke. So they gave me the medication, the blood cluster, something it's called TPA. Yeah. So I got the TPA because I think once you get that medicine or that drug in you, I think it kind of helps burst the blood clot because that's what it was. I had a blood clot in my brain. Yeah. So I had that in me, but I still had no idea what was going on. I remember thinking too, I was in the ambulance and I was like, oh my God, I have to pee. How am I going to get the ambulance driver's attention that I have to stop? And like, I was even thinking like, okay, there's a McDonald's up on St. Albert Trail. Like we could stop there. Like they'll just have to help me to the toilet and like just all this stuff. Really, I'm dying. And like, I'm just like, oh my God, I have to pee. So I get to the U of A and at this time now they're like, okay, confirmed she had a stroke, whatever. So I did, so I got x-rays and MRI and everything. And then, So at this time, my doctors had called my parents from Maui because they're in Maui. So my sister called my parents and was like, Maysyn had a stroke, and they're like, what? Like, we have no history of heart disease or anything in the family. So my parents are like, oh my God, what? Like, she's 24, like she's whatever, right? So I'm in the ER, and I'm intubated, and I'm just kind of going through the system. And so my parents get there, and then after x-rays, they're like, okay, her brain is swelling so much she needs to have bone flap surgery, which is a surgery where they take a piece of your skull out to let your brain expand. Yeah. And so I had that surgery. And then after the surgery, my boyfriend's there, my sister's there, my mom and dad are all there, my aunt's there. And my parents hadn't even unpacked from Maui yet. They went straight to the hospital from the airport. So the doctor came out of surgery and was like, okay, like, she's good. Like, she did really good in surgery. Like, go home, like, unpack, whatever. Yeah. So my parents were like, okay, like, we'll go home, get a good night's sleep, whatever. So my parents dropped my boyfriend off and then went to because I'm from St. Albert. So then they drove to St. Albert. And I think they said they just brought the suitcases into the house until they got another call from my neurologist and said, you should probably come back to the hospital and be prepared for the worst. Right. And as my parents, like, I've always been a daddy's girl, but like this has like just knocked it off the charts. So my dad has been very, supportive and just like very overbearing, where my mom is the stoic, strong one to be like, get it together. Like, she's going to be fine kind of thing. So they get to the hospital. I had another stroke, which affected my left side. So the first stroke affected my right side. Second stroke affected my left side. And I'm still recovering, and that's fine. So after the bone flap surgery, I spent 3 months in the U of A hospital, 3 months in the Glen Rose Rehab Hospital, and actually about 6.5 months in the Halford Johnson Hospital in Ponoka. And, I had to relearn how to walk, even talk, swallow my own spit. Like, I've choked on my own spit. It's just really, really sad. And because, in a span of, I don't even know, like, 10 minutes or whatever, my whole life had just restarted. And I had to relearn how to do all these things. And I was in a wheelchair for, 8.5 months. And I had to basically like progress from like, okay, not walking at all, wheelchair, 4-point cane, 2-point cane, and like all this stuff, right? So I really had to relearn how to do all these things. And yeah, it's hard. And I'm very thankful for my experience with, Canada Healthcare and my support system and my nurses and my family and my, my now husband and everything. So I'm very thankful for that. But now, being disabled, I really want to do my part in being like the biggest advocate for, the voiceless, right? Like, I really want to help people who, see something that's not very accessible and they're like, oh, whatever, like, I'm not going to make change. Where me, I see something like that and I'm like, okay, what's this business email? I'm going to email them right now. Like, I turn into a total Karen and I'm like, I need their email. Let me talk to their manager. Like, I'm just like all over this. And I'm like, yeah, it sucked for me, but I want the next disabled person to see this and make it better. So when I met Brad, I was like, hey, you and me, let's team up and let's battle Edmonton together. So I'm just really thankful that, I've had such a great experience. Well, I wouldn't say great experience having a stroke, but just the support and the love. And I'm just very thankful that, I kind of have had an opportunity to go to the hospital and really recover. And I'm just really excited to meet people like Brad, because I feel like we are going to be able to change the world. And, well, not the world, Edmonton first. and then we'll go on to the world. So
yeah, well, aim big, and this is what the journey's about. This is what the show's about. Brad and I have known each other for a number of years, but we got together maybe about 6 months ago and said, you know what, let's we had a sports show and different things we were doing. Let's get this platform on disability, but ability through disability. I'm missing my right leg, mid thigh, and we want everybody from all walks of disability. We say it every show. We have a club here, Maysyn. You know, Brad, myself, you're in it. It's a club that we have no distinct. We'll let anybody in. There's no discrimination. Anybody in the world can join our club. But once you're in, you're usually in forever. And sometimes you don't like to be in. So we want people to see ability. And your story is unbelievable. Now, I had a whole bunch of questions here. You've answered through your talk there almost every single one of them. I want you to just tell, because this is really important, any guest that we have on, how critical family is through the rehabilitation of going from being able-bodied to being disabled, or in Brad's case, he was disabled from birth, but that just sense of what it takes every day to have incredible people in your corner.
Oh, totally. And I saw people around me in the hospital not having any visitors. And when I was in Ponoka, I got to go home every weekend. So my mom would come pick me up at 11 o'clock because I'd finish all my PT or OT early enough on Friday. My mom would come pick me up. I'd spend the whole weekend in St. Albert. And then Sunday night at like 10 o'clock, my dad would drive me back to Ponoka. And, it's funny because even my mom pulled out the trailer to a campsite in Ponoka and spent, I don't know, a couple weeks out there, and just, she'd come to my therapy and she would just, almost like see what I'm going through. And that was really supportive of, that was really comforting knowing that I have all this, this support. And, my mom's engaged, and my mom is really she's really into my rehab, and she wants to learn, and because then she knows that she's gonna have to help me after when I'm out in the community. And it's just family is family, friends, my husband, co-workers like from past jobs, people from high school, it's really nice to have that support. And I just always thought of how thankful and how much I appreciate that family, because there's so many people that didn't even leave the hospital the 6 months, and that made me really sad. So I really like to say that, if you have support, cling on to it. Don't push them away. I know it's hard not to, because whatever, but they're there to help you. And I think it's just really nice that I think it's really powerful that I had that support.
Absolutely. 100%. I'm going to go one more, and then Brad will take it home, and we'll have the Edmonton connection, and Ontario guys will just will step aside. So I read your bio, okay, and I saw a couple of interesting things. You talked about The Bachelor being just for a women's thing. There's a lot of guys out there that watch The Bachelor, so hold on a second.
Sorry if I discriminated.
I have watched it. So, anyways, I saw that you love the drag queen situation. Okay, now I am a huge RuPaul fan. I watch Drag Race all the time. I got no problem saying it. That's why I said I don't think Brad. Definitely, I think Jordan's going to say, like, maybe in the side, say something. No, he has no clue what I'm talking about. But I love RuPaul's Drag Race. I watch it with my girlfriend. Oh, he said I've seen it. Okay, great, Jordan. God bless you. We watch it like I love it. So I want to ask you: do you watch RuPaul's Drag Race? And if you do, who's your favorite queen?
That's a loaded question. So,
no, whoa, that's a woman's question.
Because there's so many RuPauls right now. Okay, so yes, I love RuPaul. And it's funny because my sister actually got me into it, and now I'm way more into it than my sister. Like, my sister's still into it, but, I follow queens on Instagram and whatever. And so I, right now, because Canada's Drag Race just started last week, right?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Canada. I love UK and I love America, Australia, but I don't think that the production value in Canada is the same.
No, it's not. So the UK one right now, my favorite is Kitty Scott Claus. obviously. She's so funny. I loved Victoria Scone, I think it was the white woman the white cis woman that was on that had to leave. Spoiler alert, sorry, because she hurt her ankle. But I love that community, like the LGBTQ2 plus community, and I really have dove into that community, and I just love it. Everyone is just so, love is love, and I think that's just really powerful. And I love being around funny people and people who are just so authentically themselves.
Beautiful. So before all the guys with Robert Wine was, holy cow, I was watching Canada's version of RuPaul's show when I left to come to my computer to see this. Way to go, Robert Wine. I love you, brother. So my favorite, I love almost everybody, but Bimini Von Boulash is my favorite from UK. You talk about what a performer. I love her. I'll leave it at that before Brad and Jordan fall off their chair. So maybe down the road we'll have a show and we'll just talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay.
Oh, I would love just a podcast of like summary of that. Oh, yeah, love that.
Okay. I'll let Brad take over now. Thanks, Maysyn.
Thank you, Paul.
It's gonna take me a bit to catch up. So let's go for a bit down the road, because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen any of it, but I guess I got some work to do. But I do watch The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and yeah, my wife makes fun of me for it, but hey, it's all good.
Yeah, it's
Maysyn, I want to ask you real quick about, I don't want to use the word normal, because we're all not normal in our own right. I think everybody is not normal to a point. We all got our own little quirks and everything going on. But before the stroke, to your stroke now, I mean, obviously your life has changed in a major way, and some would say for the better, because I'm sure it's kind of giving you a different perspective on life. But how has your perspective of the disability community changed now compared to maybe before?
So I'm just going to be completely honest. I didn't think about the disabled community before, because why did I have to? And, that's just so horrible for me to think about that, because I'm like, oh my God, like why? And, Brad always says on his Instagram, we can't have the me mentality. We have to have the we mentality. And I think that's the biggest change that I've had before my stroke to after stroke, is because, there's so many things that I'm like, this isn't very accessible. Like I can't go there because of this. Like, I'll go up to a business and say, okay, how can I shop here, with accessibility in mind, and, whatever. And I'm just so passionate about, really being an advocate for the disabled community, because I don't think it's talked enough. Because someone like me, who I was 24, I used to be a vet assistant, I was just living my life, whatever. And I think I just didn't see the world as someone who has a disability would see the world. And now that I've I'm still a newbie disabled person. I'm still a baby, as Brad would say. But, my whole life, my whole 24 years, I could do curbs and I could drive and all this stuff, and I could snowboard and all this stuff. Where now I have to, have a nap after I shower because I'm so tired from just showering. And, I think it's really empowering for me to be a voice for the disabled people, because I don't think there's not a lot of people talking about it enough to educate people around the accessibility and what needs to be better for people like us. And so it's just switched from like a total 180. So,
well, Maysyn, I'm sure your story it's impacted me in the short time we've known each other. I'm sure it's left something with Paul already. The people watching, we want to thank you so much for your courage. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, having the courage to do that, because there are some people that just don't want to or aren't ready to share their story. So thank you. And we'll definitely do this again, and keep pushing along, keep moving forward. You know, you got now three gentlemen in your corner, and we'll be rooting for you, and we're always here.
Yeah, well, thank
Brad.
you for having me here, and I appreciate it.
Maysyn, I just want to. We've got a couple of minutes, and I just want to ask one more question, if I could.
Sure.
And when we get a chance to ask our guests this, it's important to me. So right now, if somebody came to you and is just suffering new to a stroke, okay, I lost my leg. I don't know anything about okay, my dad had a stroke, but he's like 89 when he had it. What would you say to a young person that's going through a stroke? It doesn't matter, 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, and maybe even more important, to their family, because you've lived it.
Mm-hmm. I'd say, you're not alone. Like, when I was in Glenrose, I was the youngest patient by at least 50 years, and that made me feel really alone. But when I went to Halbert Johnson, there was so many other brain injury patients and whatever. So I felt really connected in that community. And I would just recommend ask for help. I know it's hard because even I have a hard time asking for help because it's just a pride thing for me. And ask for help and lean on the people that are there for you, because you're going to go through dark times and you don't want to be alone during that, because it is definitely scary. And, I still go through dark times. Everyone goes through dark times. And, you really rely on people that you love and your support systems and everything. So I would just say, really listen to your body and get help when you need it, from support, from professional help, whatever. So just take the help.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't have said it better. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We will, at some point down the road, get you on again so you can talk about what it's like to go from the able-bodied community to the disabled community and to thrive. And like we say, not settle for mediocrity, but strive for greatness.
Yes. Well, like I said, thank you again for having me on. It's really awesome getting my voice out there. I mean, my voice is very loud to begin with, but now it's even more out there. So I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and I really appreciate you guys having me on here.
Thanks, Maysyn. Take care. Barks, another show. Another
Fire,
good one.
fire. We're gonna need a host to keep putting out these fire shows.
Donna McCarthy just jumped in and said she's wonderful. Thanks, Maysyn. I love the fact that we can get ability through disability out there, and no matter whether we have 5 people watching or 500, whether they're watching from somewhere in Canada or somewhere in Thailand, it doesn't make a difference. Disability holds no boundaries and no borders. It's all over the world. Some places it's easier to be disabled than others, but we're trying our best to bring a little bit of ability through disability through this show. So any last words before we bring out Heroes of the Week, Brad?
Yeah, we've done many shows similar to, like, not in the stroke world, but similar to this, where somebody becomes disabled in some realm. But again, I hit it home all the time that it can happen at any time, any moment, anywhere, any age, any gender, disability. And you talk about it, disability doesn't ever discriminate. It can happen at any time to anybody. And this is a prime example today. So just, go out there, live your best life, live it to your fullest. And whatever happens, leave it all on the table and do your best. And remember, it's not about me, it's about we.
Absolutely. So my hero of the week is, recently it was Mental Health Awareness Day. And I want everybody out there that's suffering. Most people know my story. I tried to take my life a few years ago. I'm here today because I asked for help. So every single person out there, whether you're young, whether you're old, it doesn't make a difference what your sexuality is. It makes no difference. If you are struggling, you are a hero to me to be able to reach out and ask for help. There is nothing to be ashamed of when you ask for help. Mental health is such an issue nowadays, and we have to break the stigma and get people to not think of it as this, oh my God, let's put Rosie in the closet, put somebody in the closet that's dealing with addiction and mental health and everything out there about it. We have to look at everyone going through it as a hero. So my heroes are everybody that's struggling out there that has the courage to ask for help. And if you can't ask for help today, there's always tomorrow. Yours, Brad?
Wow, Rosie. Yeah. Really quick, Jordan wanted me to mention that is Maysyn's Instagram handle. Go ahead and follow that. She's got her story on there and a bunch of inspirational videos and everything that she's got going on. So please go ahead and do that. And let's blow that up and do it good and do it proud. But for me, I'm going to keep it simple. I try and stretch away, but this week our guest is my hero of the week, Maysyn. You know what she's been through: 2 strokes in a matter of really minutes. It all kind of turned upside down, and just to watch her overcome it and to become the person and really the woman that she's trying to be and really gain everything back. And she's taken it with grace, and she's done it with the power and the will, and of course the support. Her husband's a huge part of that, and of course, you know, I think we mentioned before he's a military member in the Air Force as well. So I want to also lump him in there. Thank him for his service as well. But Maysyn, you are my hero of the week. Keep fighting, keep pushing, and things will get better because we're here for you.
Beautiful. All right, another show is wrapped up. Show number 16. We got next Sunday, show number 17. Is it your guess? You're going back to back, or is it my guess? Because I got a beauty next week.
It's your guess, man. You go ahead.
All right,
Yeah.
I got a beauty next week. I'll announce it in a couple of days. But he's a guy who's played in 5 Paralympics, 2 sports: basketball, wheelchair basketball, and sled hockey. You guys can figure it out if you know who I'm talking about. But I'll announce it on Wednesday. It's going to be a great show. So for my partner, Brad Bartko, and myself, Paul Rosen, we want to thank the Gooch Network. We want to thank Fire It Up for allowing us on their platform. We want to thank again the great Fanshawe kid, Jordan LaRoche, best producer in the business. Thank you for taking the journey. Every Sunday night, it means a lot to Brad and myself for you to take the journey with us on ability through disability. It's so important. Take care of each other, but take care of yourself and have a great journey. We'll see you next week. God bless.